Hey guys, Lynn Marie here, your quitting evangelist, dressed like an elf for a very specific reason. Because by request, we have a quit of the week that involves the holidays. And I'm recording it a few weeks before the holidays because, well, we're kind of mid-holiday. Obviously, Thanksgiving just happened, but it involves something that may be setting in already. Because this week's quit of the week is quitting holiday dread. Now, there may be two different kinds of holiday dread depending on which camp you are in. And I'm going to talk about only one of those today. So the two different camps are, okay, you dread the holidays because you have so much family. You have to buy presents for everybody. You might have a ton of people going in or out of town, and you may be preparing a big dinner. And that is a whole separate type of holiday dread that I promise we will get to in a quit of the week soon. But the holiday dread I'm talking about today is for all the people who are not with family on the holidays or with friends or seemingly with anybody as a support system. And that's a lot of us out there, right? Have you ever had this feeling? Maybe you couldn't go home for the holidays, or maybe you just don't go home for the holidays, or maybe there's not a home to go to, that your family is just not part of what you do at this time of year. And that's totally fine. But I think a lot of us, and myself included, end up feeling a little bit of angst and dread because it can be a very lonely time of year. And I do not have a great solution to this. I was asked to talk about quitting holiday dread, and for sure, the best I can do is tell you the tips that I try to use to make it more tolerable. And here we go. Again, I am right in the same boat with you. I live in San Diego. My family lives far away, and I don't travel to go see them. And a lot of my friends here in San Diego leave for the holidays. And so all of a sudden it's like everybody's out with their families or their friends, and it's a very cold and kind of dark time of the year. And there are a lot of fun things to do. Like you can go ice skating and you can go, I don't know, tree hunting or light looking at. And those are all significantly more fun with friends. And so it kind of magnifies the loneliness you may be feeling at this time of year. And then you go on social media and you see everybody with their friends at their holiday party and their families with these huge dinners, and it doesn't make it any better. So these are all things that make this time of year just a little bit dread-filled, or can. And so what I'm going to try to do today is give you the best tips I can for how to lessen the holiday dread. I realize I call it quitting holiday dread because it's the quit of the week, but I do not have a magic wand to quit it. So I'm going to tell you what I try to do to help make it a little bit better. Now, first, if you happen to be like myself and you are, let's say, slightly busier than you would like to be on most days, well, perhaps take that holiday that everybody else is spending with their family doing as a day to do nothing. Because mostly you can't do much. Like if it's actually Christmas Day, aside from the few Chinese restaurants that are open, like there may not be much going on. Luckily my yoga studio has one class, so great, I can go to yoga in the morning, but after that, there's not much to do. And so take that as a little vacation day from the universe. Like, yes, all of the entrepreneurial people, the digital nomads, etc., we could be working that day. But how about, since you have the day off and nobody else is probably working either, or not many people that you would be emailing to, take the day for yourself. It is going to do you a world of good. And like a legit no thing day. For example, on Thanksgiving, I had a Thanksgiving invitation, but I was feeling kind of worn down. I had a Friendsgiving I could have gone to, and it was far away. And I said, I'm a little worn down. I think that as much as I would like to go, and yes, have that feeling I'm spending it with somebody, some friends, I know that for me, I will do a lot better if I take the day. And we're talking, I did nothing. I did not practice the bass or crochet or write anything or do any work of any kind. I might have done an Instagram post because it was Thanksgiving. But aside from that, I took the day completely off to do things that I felt were almost devilish. Like, I'm going to watch this TV show for 5 hours. Just do whatever makes you feel amazing. If you want to read a book, if you want to sing out loud and dance in your living room, whatever is going to make you feel great, do that. You have the day off. Nope. You probably aren't having to answer emails. Probably maybe a few people are calling you to say Merry Christmas or Happy New Year's, but Most of the time, it's a pretty quiet day otherwise, so take full advantage. Give yourself the ultimate self-care day. Yes, you can't probably go get a massage, but maybe find some way that you're like, okay, I'm going to do this nice extra long meditation, or I'm just going to go sit in my favorite park for a while because if you're in San Diego, because it might be nice outside and it's just a calm thing that you can do for yourself. That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is reach out to other people. I know from my own experience that very often on, say, Christmas, I assume absolutely everybody else is with family and I don't even bother reaching out. And turns out there's probably a whole lot of other people thinking the exact same thing. So all of us end up at home alone by ourselves when we could all end up together. I'm sure that's why Friendsgiving became a thing, right? Because Thanksgiving is such a short holiday that a lot of people don't get to go home. Well, for those people who just don't have family to hang out with on the holidays or choose not to, how about we all hang out together? And so start reaching out if you're in that position. Heck, start reaching out now. Like, hey, last year I preemptively made Christmas night plans because I was like, I know that I tend to get a little bit lonely, and let me see ahead of time who's going to be available so I don't sit around all day thinking like, oh, woe is me, I'm by myself. I have a plan. And so start reaching out to the other people that you may think don't have plans, or that you think don't go home to family or aren't leaving town, and then see if they'd like to get together on the days when you can't necessarily go do anything else, like Christmas, which again is kind of the worst because if you're already alone, it's not even like, oh, go take yourself to this restaurant. Many are closed. But that's why try to team up and maybe have a board game night at your house or whatever you think you could do that's low key and fun that doesn't require a million things to be open, and try that. And then for everybody else out there who may be not in the, okay, I dread the holidays because I have too much to do, and not in the extremely lonely thing, maybe this year, one of the gifts you give is that you reach out to somebody who might not have a family thing to go to. And you don't have to necessarily say like, come to our family thing, but do you know the difference that calling that person in the middle of the day could make? It's huge. I will be very upfront with you as a person who lives alone. There's nobody else in this guitar-filled house besides me and the instruments. There are days that I can go without talking to a person. Like, many of you can't even imagine that. You're like, oh, that must be glorious. Yes, if you're doing it by choice, it's probably glorious. But some days there's just nobody that I communicate with, and that can get very lonely. And I'm sure I'm not the only person out there. So if you happen to think of your friend that may not be going home for the holidays, reach out, send a text, maybe pick up the phone. If you get bored or stuffed after dinner at your family's thing and you have 5 minutes to sneak away, maybe call your friends and see how they're doing. I swear it will make their day. I promise you. So those are just a few tips. And I'd say the last thing is to remember that the reason that, say, December 25th seems so much more dire than October 25th would if you were alone is simply because of society. And if you had nothing to do on October 25th and you could just kick your feet back and enjoy the day, wouldn't you? It only seems to be desperate because everybody else is not alone that day and everything is closed. So maybe just reframe it in your head as like, this isn't some holiday. I'm not some loner. This is this is Lynn Marie vacation day, and take full advantage of it. Think about there are some parts of the world where they're not celebrating Christmas and this is just another work day for them. And it doesn't need to have all this weight. Same with New Year's, by the way, because I am definitely guilty of like, oh, I have to have the best plans for New Year's, and they fall apart routinely because I put so much pressure on them. New Year's is just another night. It doesn't mean anything more or less than all the other nights. It's another night. We're glad to be alive, but we put so much pressure on these holidays that it ends up causing this dread and this angst that makes what should be a joyful time of year a lot more difficult to get through for some people. So I hope any of those tips have helped. I really appreciate the person who reached out and proposed this quit of the week. I will be reaching out to you on Christmas as well. And for the rest of you, love to hear any of your suggestions. And exciting thing, I am putting up a course called Make Quit Happen in 2019 to help you with your New Year's resolutions. And you might be thinking, okay, none of my resolutions involved quitting. Well, they may not on the surface, but there may be a behind the scenes quit that will help you make your resolution a success. For example, if you're trying to go to the gym in 2019, would it help you to quit the limiting belief that you're not fit enough to be at the gym, or the gym is a scary place? Or if you're trying to eat healthier next year, would the job that's so stressful maybe that needs to be quit so that you're not coming home at the end of work every day reaching for some comfort junk food. So that's the kind of thing we'll be talking about in the course. You will no doubt hear more about it, but if you want to go to quittingbydesign.com and sign up on the email list, you'll be first to hear about when the signups are available. All right. I hope you all are having a fantastic week. This is going to come out in podcast form in a few weeks. So for those people, happy very close to the holidays. And until next time, happy quitting.